let's talk about period correct parts for whatever you want to do, Frankenstrat builds, and the correct Floyds you should use, and what you can do if you can't find specific rare expensive Floyd roses. Let's start with the FRT one. So this is only made in Japan for like 6 months, and there's a USA versions. These are generally pretty expensive to find, and they're more difficult to find, and Eddie used this on a lot of stuff. His Frankenstrat from 1980 to around 1982, the Bumblebee, the Rude guitar, the Unchained guitar, the Invasion Star guitar used on the Invasion tour, right? The good news is Floyd Rose is remaking this, so you can just get it from them. But generally pretty difficult to find, only in the Japanese market, and good luck. There's two other Floyd Roses that are pretty difficult to find. So one is the FRT4 vertical fine tuners, and the other one is the Whale Tail, FRT5 Whale Tail USA, made by American Precision Metalworks. These are the most difficult ones to find. Let's talk about the FRT4. So this one was made for about 4 to 6 months in Japan, Fernandez, Japan, and it's got the vertical fine tuners. Pretty tough to find. They are relatively expensive. Eddie had a gold one without the Floyd Rose logo, and the ones you can find are generally chrome, but gold ones exist and they are rather difficult. So I don't know. These ones are rather difficult to find, but if you want a 1982 version of the Frankenstrat, you can get one of these. They might pop up once in a while. And another one I get asked about the most is probably this one, the USA American Precision Metalworks Floyd Rose FRT5 with the bent, or made out of bent steel, and it's got the Floyd Rose logo that's offset steel block. These ones don't pop up very often, and you have to pay a lot of money for them. So I guess these are the 3 rarest Floyd Roses, and they're the most difficult to find. However, Floyd Rose, I believe, is remaking this one. If you have some money, you can find one of these and one of these, but they don't pop up that often. All right, what to do if you don't want to spend a lot of money and you don't really care about being that period correct and specific. All right, what I would do is just get a brand new go to Floyd Rose's website, get a brand new 1984 Floyd Rose, and just like put a steel block on it. Boom, get it over with, be done, and save yourself. You can save a lot of minutes of your life. Okay. Another question I get is, what's the difference between the new 1984 and the old 1984? Here's an old 1984. So another question I get is, what's the difference between like a regular original and the 1984 original? So there's a couple main differences. The 1984s, the new and the old, have this vintage style trem bar right here mechanism. They can use a wrench. Also, they have the wooden posts that go into the wood. Okay, whereas the newer original Floyd Roses have threaded inserts. Okay, and the new 1984s also have a little thicker brass block. And I actually have never been compared to it. I'm kind of curious. The old 1984s have a little thicker base plate. I'm curious if the base plate is the same. So to save yourself time, just get an old German Floyd or a new 1984 German Floyd and save yourself the trouble. All right. Another thing is, I call this a poor man's whale tail. So let's say you can't find these. You can come pretty close to it, except you can't get these bullet saddles, and that's going to involve you buying Japanese-made official Floyd Rose with a FRT3 with the steel block. You take the steel block and put it on a Japanese domestic-only market FRT7, which has this pot metal steel block. And this, because these base plates are actually really nice. They're actually thicker than the APM version. So that, and it actually gets a pretty close, except the saddles are incorrect. That's also going to cost you like $500. That's really not cheap. All right, so those are some options. Another thing people get wrong, and I see this listed a lot, is on the locking nuts. Okay, so Fernandez made these style. See how these are humpback saddles, kind of, and these ones. This is a German one. They're different. So see how there's not the humpback one on the German, right? It says the R2 in the back, made in Germany. This is the Fernandez one, and Fernandez made these from like 1982 to 1988. So there's a lot of people say they're prototype nuts, etc., etc. They're pretty close to it. But they're not technically real prototypes. These ones say 4508 on the back, And some really early ones, I guess you could call prototypes, but Fernandez made these for like 6 years. They're not in Japan. You can find these pretty common in Japan, but a lot of people, they kind of mistake these ones for an actual real APM whale tail one. Where this whale tail one is really, is really similar to the Fernandez one, and really you can't tell the difference between them unless you like look at the back of it. But just get one of these. So if you're doing like a 5150 build or like a Frankenstrat when he had the APM whale tail, just get one of these, put it on an R2, and it looks pretty damn close. Okay, so hopefully that guys helped you out. Another question I got is like with necks. So like the 1982 version, you can find a Strat head neck, and he sent it a logo up. This is actually a remake of one, but you could find an actual real Kramer Pacer neck. And here's something that people always forget about. Here is an actual real 1982, or I think it's a 1982 Kramer. I think so. Like the beak headstock that Kramer had on the jump on the 1983, like on the jump video. I think his was a satin neck. And see now in that time, Kramer, they had to, when they had the Floyds, so a lot of these beak necks had a Rockinger on it, and they had to route it out for a Floyd. And so the Floyd nut shelf isn't really as wide. So actually, if you'd put a locking nut on it, it actually wouldn't be. It'd kind of hang off the edge a little bit, and that was common. But that's like if you want to go ultra crazy with it. So like these satin beaks, with the satin in it had he didn't have the Kramer patent pending on it, just plain Kramer. I'm not sure who actually made these. I've heard so many things. It was sports, ESP, like I don't even know. But get one of these satin style ones, not the one with the gloss, with the plain Kramer logo, and you can find the Strat head. I actually had a real Strat head Pacer neck on it, but it broke. So I got this one on it, but you could sign off the logo. But if you want to go really crazy, that's what you do. So there you go, guys. Hopefully that helps you out. I had a lot of questions on this vintage Floyd Rose stuff, where to find it.